If Jesus was to return today, would he call you a good and faithful servant? I was recently reminded this when a YouTube video came up on my feed, and it was an interview with Dr. John Lennox. John Lennox is a mathematician and a theologian. He often debates people on the existence of God, and he has God's wisdom on his lips. And the video was on finishing well. Watching my mom in the long-term care home that she's in and seeing the other people there has been a huge reminder. I want to finish well. And part of finishing well is being a good and faithful servant. I'm reminded of two parables that Jesus spoke. The first one, when it comes to finishing well and where the phrase good and faithful servant comes from, is Matthew 25. So we read in Matthew 25:14 that this manager is going away and he leaves his servants. One receives 5 talents, one receives 2 talents, and the last one receives 1 talent. And he eventually comes back and he wants an accounting of what they did. The first servant says, I took your 5 talents and I created 5 more. So here's 10. And the manager responds with, well done, good and faithful servant. The second one has 2 talents. They double it. They've got 4 talents. And again, the manager says, well done, good and faithful servant. And then the third servant says that they were afraid and they didn't do anything with that talent. And the manager is mad at him because he says, you didn't even put it in the bank and at least gain me some interest. And he turned around and scolded him and told him to go where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. And they gave that talent to the person who had 10 talents. What I find really interesting in this parable is that whether the person had 5 talents or whether the person had 2 talents, the response from the manager was still the same. So that tells me that whether you have a lot or you have a little, being faithful with whatever it is the key. The word faithful talks about being consistent. There are many people that when they become Christians, they are so excited. I mean, I remember that when I first became a Christian, I was thrilled. And we want to get and do all these things and we want to tell others about Jesus and all that. And then as time goes by, things sort of take a turn. And this is where the second parable, the parable of the sower, comes into place. The parable of the sower can be found in Matthew 13. And again, Jesus is teaching and telling people that a sower goes out, or a farmer goes out and sows seed. The seed falls along 3 different types of soil. So the first soil is the actual path. And that path is where the birds come and they just devour it. It's gone. The second path is where the seed falls in rocky soil. And within the rocks, though the seed will take a root, the root is shallow because there's not enough soil. And then the sun will come out and it will be scorched. And then the other soil is good soil. And the sower will reap either 100, 60, or 30, I think. But there is this sowing. There's this reaping of what was sown. And when the disciples asked Jesus, what does this mean? Jesus says in Matthew 13, verse 18, hear then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches it away from what has been sown in his heart. This is what was sown along the path. As for what was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word, immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root, but it endures for a while, and then tribulation or persecution arises on account of the word, and immediately he falls away. As for what is sown among thorns, this is the one who hears the word, but the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and it proves unfaithful. As for what is sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word, understands it, bears fruit, and it yields 100-fold, 60, and another 30. And when it comes to being faithful, we need to be faithful with our time. We need to be faithful with our gifts, our resources, and our relationships. God has a calling on each and every person. That calling may not just be one thing. That calling could be few things. That calling may be for a season, that calling could be lifelong. But regardless of it, we are here to know God and to make him known. And we will do it in ways that are unique to us. One of the things in the video that I wrote down that John Lennox talks about is he had a dear friend who was dying, and his friend asked him to speak the eulogy. And John Lennox asked him, "What do you want me to say?" And he said, "I want you to say what we learned when we were younger, to get into the word perfectly and to spend real time on it, and then wait on the Lord until his face appears. And then you will have something to say." And this goes back to making God known. Having something to say will look differently. Some of us are called to be preachers and apologists and evangelists. And some of us are called to be artists and teachers and medical people and service workers. We all have a different calling to make God known. But we need to be in his word, and we need to to hear from God to make sure that how we are making God known is how God wants us to do it. One of the other things that John Lennox talks about in that video is that the older we get, Christians have a stronger hope because they know who they're seeing at the end of this. This is not our home. It's a lovely home, and I'm thankful for it, but this is not my true home. Heaven is my true home, and one day I will be there, and that gives a lot of hope. And during times of great pain and suffering that happens in our world, loss, just horrible things, we have this strong hope in our futures. We know where we're going. And my prayer for you is that you would be a good and faithful servant, faithful in all that you do. And for those who journal, I wrote a couple questions here. Number 1, am I using the giftings or talents that God has given me right now? And if not, what can I do today to start? I wrote down, to finish well is to finish what God calls you to do and then keep going, because God may have something else for you. So the question is, have I finished the work that I believe God has called me to do? And if so, what might God want me to do now? Consider your season in life, and are there tasks, relationships, or callings that you feel are left incomplete? And the last one is, what does faithfulness look like in my daily routine? God has called us. He is a faithful God. The word faithful is more attached to God than anything else in the Bible. God is so faithful. We deserve nothing, and yet God continues to love on us, be with us, walk with us. He is faithful. And I hope you have a wonderful week. See you soon.